Welcome back to Herb-O-Matic. So far in our airplane project, I went into this shed to try to be alone from the wife. See, there's no sign of her. Sweet serenity at last. But I opened the door and there she was. You can't get away from it, guys. I'm hosed. And we found this airplane. We heard that Elvis once farted nearby, so I'm going to claim it as Elvis's airplane restoration, like every other YouTube channel does. But unfortunately, he had sold the engine for a bacon banana sandwich. But I took this one out of my grandma's rascal scooter. We popped the door to release Elvis's ghost fart. The interior, look how modern the interior is of this airplane. All the latest instruments. We had a little dance party. And then I cleaned up for our date. And we unwrapped the engine that I found behind the Waffle House. I removed these things because nobody knows what they really do. It's a mystery. My friends were shocked I took them off. So then we enjoyed some cake. Oops, I guess it was chocolate cake. And then I showed off my Pog collection. And I got a job at the tool factory.
Look at that, beautiful.
Unfortunately, I was fired almost immediately. This engine's fire. It set off the fire alarm.
4 1/4-inch bolts.
That's all that holds the engine on this airplane. People said I must have big nuts in order to fly this airplane, so here we're taking a look at my left one. Yeah, we did a little tonsil surgery on the wife. She was complaining. And the engine stayed on. It was a great success. But then I ran into my wife's ex at the taco place afterwards. And I'm the one in the mask. You could tell by the cake from earlier, the cake shot. And I was doing pretty good. Look, I started to win. And but he did not surrender. And the wife was pretty pleased. The 2 men were fighting over her. Pretty happy about that. Oh, and I started to lose pretty badly, but I got back up because you can't kill me. I am La Cucaracha. Now let's get back to restoring Elvis's fart plane. Okay, next let's remove this oil filter here. I'm gonna use new oil, so we don't really need this. And we'll just cut this wire. They safety wire those because if they get loose, they'll flop around the engine compartment and cause safety issues. So let's just get rid of it. Get it out of the way right now. They sell oil filter wrenches, but I've got the originals right here. Then we'll just shove this in the hole so the oil doesn't get out. Okay, do you see this grounding strap here? It goes to the engine. On my Mooney here, it's loose. See this? You see it's got shmoo underneath it. So here's what's the cool part on these Moonies. You see this box right here? This is your footwell. So the other side of that bolt is in the footwell, and it's easy to get to. Let me show you. So you just get in the plane. I've already removed the seat. So we're just gonna get in the plane. Go under here. I forgot a flashlight. So I'm just got the feel for the bolt. I forgot my flashlight. Yeah, I don't have enough room for my arms. Okay, I found it with my fingers. I'm gonna try to put a wrench on it. I have to adjust this a little bit wider. Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm feeling for it. I think I found it. I have to get a flashlight. No big deal. Just crawl back out of here. Okay, so put a pair of vice grips on the bolt. Now I gotta put a pair of vice grips on the vice grips so that it doesn't just spin. Bolt is an A&3, so we're gonna use a 3/8" socket to remove it. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna listen, and we should hear the vice grips fall on the ground inevitably. Okay, put a pair of vice grips on the other pair of vice grips so they would hit the edge. That's what you're hearing, that knocking sound.
we go to put this back, the wife will have to go in there and hold a wrench on there. Okay, we got our little bolt out. Yeah, that wasn't making good contact at all. Look at it, it was oily. Now that cable's out of our way, so we can make other connections. One of my hardest connections, or one of the harder, there's lots of hard connections, is that fitting with tape on it to that red nipple right there. So first thing we'll do is try to reach in here with some hemostats and pull the tape off of that. Okay, I was finally able to get it with these curved hemostats. Now let's try to get that red cap off. Now let's push this fitting onto that one. Okay, these are flare fittings, so we don't need any sealer. Okay, I was finally able to get it threaded on by hand. Now these don't have lock wire or anything, so you rely completely on the torque, so they need to be tight. We're gonna use this contraption with the crow's foot on the end. Okay, there we go. Okay, now we just put a little dab of that. When that dries, it'll harden, and if it cracks, we know it's been moving. These two will be a lot easier. This is just a little port for our fuel to go if something ruptures inside the fuel pump. It just dumps it overboard on the children's head. It'll be good for them. That's tight. It's not going anywhere. There. Now we know we torqued that. This is our fuel outlet to the servo, which is not installed yet. Okay, let's do a little safety wiring. Do you see this drain valve? This little elbow, and then it comes down to a quick drain for my oil drain. So that's the drain position. Spring loaded to the closed position. This has got holes drilled in it, so it should be safety wired to this, and this should be safety wired to this small hole here, so it can't back out, right? So I'm gonna use 032 wire. This wire is, you can find these in the bread ties, you know, if you strip the paper off bread ties, you can get this stuff for free. But I have an old can of it here. And we're gonna use our little spinny safety wire pliers here. So we'll go around this once. So we get a nice little loop like this here. And we're just gonna pull that tight. Let's make sure our ends are even. Okay, so what we wanna do is start angling up our twist here. So we'll get it started a little bit. Then we'll come up here. I'm pulling tight on the wire the whole time. So I'm trying to figure out approximately where I want this to loop. Now we'll just lock our pliers and pull this little slide down. Now it's locked on there. You pull this handle out, and it automatically spins the pliers. See that? Feed our other wire through this hole. Now we're pulling both wires tight. We don't want to go too crazy because we don't want to bust our hole. I'm checking the tension on my wire. I want it very tight. It feels like it is. And we'll give her some twists. There we go. And then we'll just give her a cut here. And now it's very important that you curl this because this is razor sharp, so we want to point it away from where anybody will be working. Now that's going to be harder to get cut on. And that's it. So that's safety wired, can't spin off. So we want this wire up here around, so we're going to pull it through here and then up around here so that this can't unthread. So pretend the wire is tightening it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just do a quick measurement and figure out about how much I want. It's about right there. So I'm gonna put my pliers there. Give this a few pulls. If you do more than 3, you're just playing with it, so don't do that. So now we can come up here and we can see that we could use one more. So any more than 4, then you're just playing with it. We're safety wired this way and this other way, so we're tight. Pull out this little protective plug, and it's time to install the Sniffle valve. This is the Sniffle valve, and it's the real name of it. It's a little AN fitting modified by Mooney. You can see the little pin here, and what they did was they added a little check ball. And what that does is it allows fuel to drain, excess fuel to drain out, but when the engine starts up, it sucks the ball in so you don't lose vacuum out that same drain tube. And we're just gonna use a little bit of this goop here to seal it. All right, so let's spread it, but let's try not to get it too close to the end. We don't want that going in there. That feels good. Now we'll just thread that in here. This is just pipe thread. Perfect. Now that we have that tight, so we don't lose our minds wondering if we tighten that or not, we'll just put a little dab of bolt marker. Right there. Now I can look at that and go, that's tight. Okay, now that the engine is hung, we've hooked up some things like the prop governor to its cable, and we did as much as we could underneath for now. We've got, you know, the cables attached, the Sniffle valve installed, everything's safety wired. We've safety wired our oil drain and this little plug over here. Now that we've got all that stuff done, the next part is baffling, but I'm sure I can figure it out. All right, the wife didn't come today, so giggity. She didn't come to the airport today, so I'm gonna have to do the cleaning. I'm gonna have to figure it out. This is some kind of wand that she waves, and here's some mineral spirits. I'm not looking to make this thing pristine, but it's never gonna get cleaned again. This is kind of funny. Look at this little dish I was using to hold the mineral spirits. Look at the little pattern formed at the bottom because of the magnet in the bottom of the dish. It means a lot of the particles I cleaned off of here were metallic, or at least ferrous. All right, we got all the baffling washed and drying. So let's go over here to our compressor. This is our P-bike. In case I gotta go to the bathroom, you can ride it to the other end of the hangers. Just plug it into this extension cord here, which is always great for the compressors. Okay, sure. It's probably just up to pressure already. Grab our blowgun here and our hose. I'm just not very good at managing hose, guys. That's why I got married. Table, a little blow. Now we got a clean working surface. All right, here's our baffling. I want to show you an interesting problem here. You see these grooves here? It's happening on several parts of the baffling. Now this baffling's 50 years old, but still, see these grooves cut into it? I mean, these are fairly deep. Okay, what that's from is that part of the baffling wraps around under here and under here. And these fins cut into it over time. So what we're gonna do to fix that is apply a little bit of this gasket maker here, this red RTV. So if you put the tape over here, it'll stop this stuff from drying out. Well, I guess it's just happy to see me. So we got a new tube because I foresaw this issue. Okay, what I want to do is use a little bit of mineral spirits to clean up anywhere I want to use that red RTV. Just so we get a good stick. Okay, we got slightly fatter bead setting selected. Now what you want to do is immediately lose this like I do every time. Okay, what I'm going to do is use these as a guide where to put a bumper, and I'm just going to apply a little bead wherever those are. Okay, what we don't want is for this to act as a standoff tooth bar. So I'm just going to smooth this out a little bit. just like that. We'll just use our little mineral spirit rag to wipe off our pencil. Okay, finished that job. And you can see that we finished and we're ready for a nap. Okay, so here's some of the brackets for our alternator. And when I received it back from the engine builder, it must have had a shorter bolt in here. And they must have just given me a different bolt or a new bolt or something. But the thing I noticed is this bolt protrudes into this hole here. And this is where the alternator pivot bolt goes. Where what you get it, pivots. I ordered one size shorter bolt. So this is an AN 5-6. And I ordered an AN 5-5, which is one size shorter. And so here's the part number, AN 5-5A, okay? So here's the issue, is notice that this bolt has a drilled head and this one does not. So they did not have drilled heads in stock. Here's how you tell the part number. An AN5, if it had a drilled head, would be AN5H-5A. And if it had a drilled hole in the threads here for a cotter pin, it would not have that A. So it would be an AN5-5. If it, no drilled head, but a drilled threads. A means no drilled threads. H after the AN5 would mean it had a drilled head, but no drilled threads. So anyways, clear as mud. All right, so what we get to do is, the other thing they did not have in stock, it's silly, but I'm pretty excited about these icon screwdrivers I'm gonna play with. Thank you, patrons, for helping me buy these. You guys are awesome. But anyways, going back, so now what we get to try to do is put a hole in that head for the safety wire. Now, the jig for doing this was also not gonna be available in a timely manner. So let's just go ahead and give her a shot here. Make sure that flat is straight up. Okay, here. Put this middle of the head, middle of the flat, and let's give her a go. Gosh dang it. Okay, so that's awesome. I got a couple of these Harbor Freight punches here. I don't know how good they are. Let's give it a shot. These are supposed to be auto punches, so you're supposed to just push down on them and they do something. Ooh, God, that left a great dent. Those things actually worked really good, so. Let's take a little bit of Tri-Flow. Oil it up. To stop once in a while and make sure we're going straight. Wish I had a jig. Well, this is awful. I can't push hard enough on the bit to do anything. And that's just gonna make the bit hot. Now we're making progress. Maybe we shouldn't lubricate with Tri-Flow because it lubricates maybe too well with that Teflon. So here's some silicone spray that's handy. This is my favorite cutting oil because it's right here on the workbench. Feels like something's happening. I don't know if it's good. I hope I haven't gone crooked and coming out the top of the head into the vise. Okay, we made it through. So let's blast it out. See what we got. We got a perfectly drilled bolt. Look at that. That's perfect. The drilled ones cost like 10 cents more anyways, so you know, this saves you a lot of money. Okay, let's get rid of this little burr here. We got a 1/8 bit. Look at that. It just leaves a nice rounded opening so our wire doesn't get messed up going in there. Let's do the other side. Perfect. All right, let's compare them. Can you tell the factory bolt versus our new bolt? Not really. Pretty nice. These are alternator bracket bolts here, and they're 1/4 threads. And if we go in our Lycoming book, you'll see quarter inch threads here. Torque is 96 inch-pounds. Okay, we got 96 inch-pounds. Let's take them for a spin. Okay, green light means we're close. Red light means we're there. Okay, those are all torqued. Now we just need to safety wire them. So we'll just safety wire them in such a direction that it's tightening both bolts. So we'll come from this hole down to this hole here. You don't want to go neutral, so we'll grab this one and this one. Okay, there's our alternator bolts, torqued and safety wired. All right, it's the next day. We're back at the hangar. Wife is riding the P-bike. Hey. We've got the new addition to the family, Pearly. Okay, we got a little piece of tape here on the engine mount so we don't scratch it. Painted that earlier. Sneak it in here over here. Having a hard time. This piece right here, stuck between the fins and the motor mount. Okay, so that's part way in there. Okay, a lot of our baffle screws were blown out. Look how bad that is. So I picked up some new ones here. And these screws are Phillips, so you know what that means. We get to do an unboxing. All right, the patrons bought this, so thank them because they help keeping the channel going. And if you want to support the channel, become a Patreon or patron. Let's throw your names up now. Give you honor upon thee. Let's figure out, get into this thing. Come on. Why? Why no open? There it goes. What's this? It's just the spacer on the back here. Oh, look at that. It's beautiful. Look at that, boys. All right. It's probably going to be a #1 on these guys. Oh, that #2 fits beautifully, actually. So we're going to be #2. Ooh, this feels good. This feels good. I'm going to need a minute. Ah. Wish these would play nice. Come on. Hey, honey, hold that baffling on that side. Thank you. Let me come up. Ah, hang on. Good catch. Okay, then there's a little support that goes here. And it goes on this bolt here. Okay, we're gonna need a new lock washer. Okay, we got a new lock washer because you can't reuse them. They get pretty flat afterwards. Now on these, there's a lock washer under the head too, so we gotta replace that. And we'll leave that loose until we get our baffles all installed. All right, that was terrible. So let's move on to the next part. Okay, if you look here, you can see a hole in the side of the cylinder head. And there's a hole in the bottom drilled from underneath. What goes in there is an AN3 bolt. Put a little AN3 washer here. And then this is the insert that goes up under there to catch the bolt. And we control the direction of the insert with these little slots. So we'll use one of our fancy new screwdrivers. Okay, then we'll just take our AN bolt, put it through our baffling. You're gonna need about 3 hands for this, so. Okay, we're started, so we can pour a screwdriver out of the bottom, and we'll tighten that up later. Okay, this side usually has an issue. There's some flat parts of the fin there, and air won't get past. This will kind of seal against it. It's on this side particularly. I'll show you. The back side of that cylinder looks like the front side of this cylinder here. Do you see these walls in the castings here? Well, if the panel is right against it, the air won't get through. It'll just hit that and stop, and then you'll get a hot spot on this cylinder. This is cylinder number 3, and this is notorious for getting hot. Okay, so that creates a hot spot. But Mooney has corrected on this one with this little bulge here that will allow air to get past that flat spot. If yours is flat, if you have an airplane with a flat baffle right here, I recommend putting a couple washers or 1 or 2 washers to space the baffling away from the head, and that'll allow air to get around that and cool the bottom side so your number 3 doesn't run so hot. Tip of the day. Just the tip, guys. And let's see how we would slip on this back one. Let's use these beautiful Philister heads, and they are 1/4 20. Oh no! Do you see this extra bolt hole? That slips in behind that weird head bolt thing. So it's a good thing we didn't tighten it up yet. Yeah. Okay. Our largest new screwdriver fits that beautifully. Oh. Okay, see right here? Between these 2 baffles, we have something called fretting. These 2 heads move slightly independent of each other. At that tiny, tiny movement is causing fretting right here. That'll just stop it from chafing. Okay, we can see the same thing on this side. A little smear here. It looks like through here, this fitting has to go through here. So I'll have to pull that. So let's try to do this side first. Okay, we need to loosen this line to get this one in there. Well, I've got the wrench out. Let's loosen this one. This is our oil supply to our prop governor, or to our prop, from our prop governor. Okay, this is the same situation with that little hole in the head. I'll put that insert and put a bolt in there. Can we hit that light, my love? All right, let's try to slip this in here. That's what she said. He said? I don't know. Somebody said it. We'll put a little mark on there after we've torqued it. All right, that's the baffling installed, guys. Turns out our alternator here might be bad. Let's listen.
Hear the bearings warbling in there. So we'll have to get this overhauled. And what's interesting about aircraft alternators is they're just rebranded car alternators. So even though this will say, you know, Interav or whatever, you know, aircraft electrical components, this is actually like a Motorola alternator that's made by Prestolite. It's like a $100 alternator, and when we send it over to get overhauled, it'll cost $700. So it's awesome. But that's how aviation works. Okay, here's our lower cowling. Here's something interesting is there's a crack in this piece here, and somebody's repaired it with this strip, but that strip is doing nothing for this crack. And they even put a reinforcement doubler on this side. I'll show it. But it stops right before the crack. So we're gonna have to fix that because that's weakening this lower. That goes to this arm here and it's weakening that. And then this plane used to have a turbo and they drilled these holes, I'm assuming for that kit. And this one went through. See the crack in it? Forgive my nails. When you do stuff, they get dirty, and I haven't cut them in a while because I've been busy. So anyways, here's that gap here. I'll stick my dirty nail in there for you. So that's gonna need a doubler too to fix that. And actually, here's the piece that ruined the engine in the first place. The engine only had 300 hours on it out of an expected 2,000 hour lifetime. But what this is your alternate air. So if the air filter in front gets clogged up, the intake can suck this open and you get some power to continue flying to make an emergency landing, right? But that's unfiltered air. And some mechanic along the way had replaced this spring with a weak spring. He must have lost this one, replaced it with just any old hardware spring. So anytime the engine was running, it was sucking this open, and the dirt basically destroyed the entire engine. The silica around here, we're out in the desert, as you can see out there. And that silica will cycle through the engine and just sand everything down. It just destroyed it. So anyways, I ordered the actual spring, and we're gonna do some sealing up on this air box, make sure that doesn't happen again to our new engine that we found behind Goodwill. A quick degreaser for this aircraft type goop works pretty well as this silicone spray here. And we'll just use our parts cleaning brush. These are really easy to use. What you do is you just hand it to your wife, and then you point at the spot you want cleaned.
Oh my God.
So, and then it's pretty automatic from there on out.
Get out of here.
Clean that
I'm
spot
not doing that, no.
She's pretending not to be good at it, so she doesn't have to do it. Here, let me spray some more of this stuff. This stuff's got kind of a strong odor. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good.
You feel pretty good? All right, guys, I think we might have accomplished
Might
our
like
goal.
cleaning now.
Huh?
I might like cleaning now.
Ooh, I think we might have accomplished our goal of getting the Wi-Fi. Yeah, we'll get this thing fixed, and then we'll get the Wi-Fi. So, hi in a couple of different ways. We won't let her have any oxygen, and then, I mean, that's like a free buzzed.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna continue cleaning.
Oh my God. God, she's beautiful, guys. I can't wait to get her running again. Do you like this propeller?
That propeller?
Yeah.
Yes.
Would you say you're a big fan of this propeller?
God.
She's run off, guys. I don't know if it's something I said or something I ate, but she ran away, and now I've got to clean it. Well, this is going to clean up pretty nice. I don't know what this goop is here, but we can get that out.
It's probably where you touched it.
It's probably where you touched it. All right, guys, we're going to finish up this airplane in another episode. We got to send the alternator out to get overhauled, and got a few other little things to do. All right, say goodbye, honey.
Bye.
Say goodbye, Pearl. Bye, Pooch.
Hi, Poochie. Wow. Is that your yard?
get those shoes?